Hello, welcome to Introduction to Java Programming. In this session, we will discuss about abstraction, one of the object-oriented principles. Let's begin. Abstraction is one of the object-oriented principles. The other object-oriented principles which we have discussed already, like encapsulation, which provides us data security, or it can actually helps us to restrict the access control. And later we have seen inheritance, the process of acquiring properties of a class by other class, and which helps in using the code in other programs. So that is code reusability. And we also saw polymorphism, the third object-oriented principle. It is actually exhibited by methods. We have method overloading, method overriding. The ability to take more than one form is polymorphism. And comes the fourth and the last object-oriented major principles is abstraction. So abstraction, in fact, is a design principle. We will understand that. And it is defined like this: the act of representing essential features and hiding the background details. So you can understand in a number of ways: representing the essential features, the highlights, and hiding the irrelevant details or background details is abstraction. That means the essential features means the functionalities. So here we will specify functionalities. So we will say what to do. We'll focus on what to do by hiding implementations. That is how to do. So there are two things in abstraction. One is the specification that abstraction takes care, and the second part is implementations, which is not abstraction, which is actually performed by somebody else. Okay, so abstraction focuses on what to do. So how, just specify the functionalities, do this, do that, and like that, not how you are going to do that. So that's not abstraction. So it is the design principle and helps us in solving the complexity. By having abstraction, by specifying the functionalities, the complexity can be reduced. The implementations we are leaving for somebody else. And by having abstraction, we can achieve loose coupling also. So loose coupling is also one of the software engineering principles. So we have tight coupling and loose coupling. If we have interdependency among the components, then that is tightly coupled. And there is no dependency among the components, that is loose coupling. Always we have to try to achieve loose coupling. So we have to minimize the dependencies. So that's actually is achieved with the help of abstraction. In Java, this abstraction is implemented, or this abstraction is specified with the help of two things. One is abstract class. We have seen classes, and now there is something called abstract class. You will understand, which is used to achieve 0 to 100% of abstraction. Okay, so the abstraction here is going to be 0 to 100%. It can be 0, it can be 100, and usually it will be in between actually. So 33%, 50%, 73%, something like that. And the abstraction is also achieved by something which is more popular than abstract classes, is actually interfaces. So we always will be writing interfaces. Okay, so one is abstract class, the other is actually interfaces. So interfaces, by interfaces, we can achieve 100% of abstraction. Okay, so in order to specify the abstraction, we have this. And in order to specify the background details or implementations, we have classes. So already we know classes. In class, we have methods, constructors, etc. That's what implementation. So class is not abstraction. Abstract class and interfaces are abstraction things in Java. Class is the implementation because it has the methods, and method has the business logic. So here, the relationship that exists among this abstract class, okay, and the class, because abstract class is the abstraction and class is the implementation. That means the background details, or the interface and classes. Okay, so the relationship that exists among abstract class and classes and interface and classes is actually realization. You see here, there are different components. Abstract class is one component and class is another component. Interface is one component and class is other component. So far, what are all other relationships we have seen, like aggregation, association, right, and inheritance, that exists among similar components. But here we have different components. Okay, that is realization relationship. In realization, what happens? One will take the contract and other will fulfill it. So the other that fulfills it is class, because it is having implementation. The one that takes the contract is actually the other that specifies the contract is abstract class or interface. So one is a specification, that is abstraction, either abstract class or interface, and the implementation is taken care by the classes. So the relationship that exists among these classes and abstract classes and interface and classes is a realization relationship. So in order to understand abstract in real world, so let's understand one example. So we know, everybody know ATM, right? Automatic teller machine. So where will people go, withdraw some amount, deposit amount, transfer, check their balance, etc., etc. So in India, if you see, there are good number of banks, and all banks have their ATMs. So if you go to any ATM, whatever the ATM, so it is SBI or HDFC or ICICI or Bank of India or whatever the bank it may be, say multinational bank or a nationalized bank or any private bank, whatever the bank it is, if you go and you will see a similar interface actually. So similar kind of functionalities in every ATM. If you go to SBI, you will find some functionalities such as withdraw, deposit, transfer, etc. And if you visit HDFC, the same functionality you will see. And if you visit any small bank ATM, same functionalities will be there. Okay, so all the ATMs are having the same functionalities. So how it is possible actually? So and why actually the same functionality was there, right? So who is responsible for this? So if you go to SBI or if you go to HDFC or if you go to ICICI, whatever the bank it may be, you will see the same kind of functionalities. Okay, so does banks are specifying their functionalities and putting into the ATM, or somebody else is actually specifying that? Okay, so here I'm coming to the point. These banks are just implementations. These are not specifiers. Okay, for all these banks, there is one controlling body that is called RBI. So RBI specifies what should be there actually in an ATM. So in an ATM, so it says you should have all these functionalities. It just tells about the functionalities. RBI is not the implementer. It's a governing body. For example, SBI wants to have an ATM. It goes and asks RBI. It requests RBI that I would like to have an ATM. Then what RBI do is RBI will provide uh, a kind of functionalities to the SBI saying, so these are the functionalities you should have in an ATM. So withdraw money, transfer money, deposit money, check balance, min balance, finding the min balance and changing the PIN, etc. So it says, RBI says, so these functionalities must and should be there, and these are the only functionalities. Now SBI gives to its implementer, whoever the company that writes software for SBI, and they will come up with the uh, ATM software. So later HDFC goes and asks for ATM. So RBI also gives the same functionalities HDFC to implement. HDFC will go to its implementer, and ATM is fine actually. So for all these banks, functionalities are same. The implementations are different because these implementations are done by different companies, different software companies, right? For example, ICICI, Infosys provides the software, right? And HDFC some other company, SBI some other company, right? So their implementations are being done by somebody else, but specification is common actually. So whatever the ATM specification is there, so this specification or this functionalities are common. So that's why whatever the ATM you go, the same functionalities will be there. So here RBI is the specifier. Okay, RBI is the specifier. So that means RBI can be an abstract class or it is an interface. Abstract class or an interface. Okay. And these banks, whatever the banks I am listing over here, they are implementers. So that is implementations. So these implementations are nothing but classes, right? So these SBI, HDFC, ICICI are classes, and RBI is an abstract class or interface. So this specification has to be implemented by these classes. So abstraction speaks of only this. Abstraction speaks of specifying the things only. Okay, not the implementations. Okay, so now once a specification is there, you wish to implement it, you wish to have that, then you have to write a class. So this relationship we are saying as a realization relationship. In fact, if at all we want to discuss, for example, governments, right? So governments are specifiers. Okay, they specify the contract, they specify what they want. They will not implement. So somebody will implement. For example, you want to construct a overbridge, an underpass. So government specifies. So from this place to this place, with this much distance, with this much budget, so this has to be constructed, and somebody will come and construct. Right. So there will be a tendering. So government just specifies what to be done in a tender, and other people bid for that. So the bidders actually will fulfill the things, right? One is a specifier, another is the implementer. So abstraction speaks of only specification. Implementations we already done with that. Those are classes actually. So that has to be understood, because abstraction is easy. So writing code and implementations, these are easy actually, but understanding the concept is important, because it's a design principle to solve the complexity, and it focuses only on specifications. Implementation details are left to somebody else actually. Okay, so in abstraction, when we speak of abstract classes or interfaces, so we have something also called abstract method. Okay, so we have abstract methods also. So what is an abstract method? Abstract method is a method just like any normal method, and which has no body. So that means which has no implementation. It does not implement. Okay, so for example, whenever I write something like this, for example, when I say add, usually we will write like this, right? So we will have some code over here. So this is actually concrete method. So whatever I have written over here is actually a concrete method. So in all classes, we will have the concrete methods. So that means there is certain business logic written over here. This is the business logic. Okay, so what is an abstract method? Abstract method is not a concrete method. Abstract method has no body. So that means simply semicolon. We are just specifying, we are just saying add. How to add, we are not specifying actually. So that's why this is abstract. So whenever we say like this, we have to make this as abstract. So abstract method is a method which has no definition, no body. It ends with semicolon. It ends with semicolon. So the abstract classes or interfaces are going to contain these abstract methods. Okay, so now interface by default, it is going to contain all abstract methods, and abstract class is going to have both abstract methods plus concrete methods. Okay, so AM is just like abstract method and concrete method, right? Interfaces contains all abstract methods only. So that's why what we say is abstract classes will achieve 0 to 100% of abstraction. So 0 to 100% abstraction we say, and whereas interfaces always 100% abstraction, because interface contain all abstract methods only. There is no concreteness, there are no definitions, whereas abstract class will have uh, some abstract methods and some concrete methods. So for example, we will be writing like this. So just an example I'm taking, so I'm not going to run this, but I'm just giving you the template actually. So for example, I have a class A, and if I say abstract, if I say abstract here, abstract class A, so this can contain the methods which are both which are both concrete and abstract. So for example, I have an add method, so which is a concrete method because I have some code in it. So I can actually have some other method, let's say a void fun, and this method I am not having any definition. So this is actually abstract method, right? So this abstract method. So whenever you are actually ending with a semicolon, no body, then we have to specify as abstract. Okay, so this abstract is the keyword actually, and this can be applicable to abstract classes and abstract methods. So and that means applicable to classes and methods. In the same fashion, we can actually have interfaces also. Interface is also like a class. So we have a keyword. For example, I'm saying interface X, and this interface is going to have all abstract methods only. So for example, now I write like this void add. I'm just saying add. So then I say void L just multiply it. So void then actually let's say subtract. I'm just saying subtract. I'm not specifying the implementations. So these are all specifications of functionalities. So interface is written like this. We have the interface keyword, and by default interface have all abstract methods. So there are no concrete methods. That way we are saying it has 100% of abstraction. Whereas the abstract class, now if you see, there is one concrete method and there is one abstract method in it. So this is the class actually. This is the class. So one concrete method and one abstract method. So the percentage of abstraction that is achieved is 50%, right? You have two classes, one abstract and one concrete. So 50% of abstraction. So sometimes abstract class can have all abstract methods, then it will be 100. Sometimes abstract class can have all concrete methods. There are no abstract, then 0% abstraction. But usually a few implementations and few abstract methods will be there in abstract class, whereas interface contains everything or abstract methods only. So this is about what is actually called as abstraction, which is there to solve the complexity and one of the object-oriented principles. And abstraction in Java is uh, specified with the help of two things. One is abstract class and interface. So in the coming session, we will discuss thoroughly about abstract classes and interface. Thank you.